The following podcast you're about to listen to is brought to you by the Push Start Media Network, where everything you do in life begins with pushing start. Welcome back to another edition of the Sport Your Enthusiasm podcast. I am your humble host, Bryce Benjamin, along with a guy being brought today via satellite, my guy, Ed Rueter. What's good, my dude?
That's awesome, buddy. That was a great intro.
That was better.
Via satellite. I wish I could be there with you in the room, but this is the modern world that we live in. I guess it's going to have to be from a distance right now.
Hey, man, we got to make it do how it do, man. We going to make it work, though. You know, got a new USB mic so the people can hear me clear.
Oh, you sound great.
Yeah, likewise, man.
You sound great. And what's nice for me is I don't have to look at all that Raven shit that you have in your room right now.
Actually, right? You do. If you look at my camera and you look behind me.
Okay. I see a little bit there. I can deal with Ray Lewis. Sir. What I can't deal with is all those little chumps from over the years that you think are great players and all that. I can't deal with that. So I'm here. I'm live from the man cave. I've got all my Cleveland Indians gear around me. I've got Miami Dolphins gear around me. I'm feeling pretty good right now.
You might want to come back to this room so you can actually feel like a winner around Baltimore Raven stuff, you know.
I tend to agree with you when I'm there in the room because it's like Raven stuff and I feel like I'm out of my element. Then I'm here. I'm around my guys. Man, we might go at it today, buddy.
Hey, man, this is all love. This is a love podcast today, man.
That's fine. You know? All right, we'll keep it love. We'll keep it love.
All right, I respect it. All right, so what we wanted to kind of get into today is a couple of topics, couple of discussions, and kind of wanted to lead this episode off on what happened over the last 48 hours now, where we had a bunch of different teams from different sports decide to protest or strike or however you want to call it, and sit out games, like playoff games. I mean, dude, like I was kind of shocked. Like it kind of all started yesterday with the Milwaukee Bucks when they decided to sit out their Game 5 matchup against the Orlando Magic. And I know the Boston Celtics and Toronto Raptors were having a discussion, and reason why they're sitting out these games was in response to the shooting, the police shooting of Jacob Blake, and it was kind of shocking to see like a movement like that, like such a mass movement happen over like literally all the four major sports groups. I'm not gonna lie, dude. Like it popped up on my phone, and I'm sitting there reading it, and I'm like, this is like happening. You know what I mean?
Well, the first thing that I heard was when it made the most sense for Milwaukee to out and start with the protests there, having everything had transpired in Wisconsin. But it was pretty unbelievable to see in the past. You know, people were upset over just a simple kneeling before the game, right? Okay, and now they took it to an entirely different level here, where they actually decided to protest and, you know, boycott games entirely. And what I thought was incredibly interesting was the fact that it went across all major sports during the playoffs, no less. So Milwaukee made a lot of sense with the Bucks. The Milwaukee Brewers made a lot of sense. But to see it trickle down across hockey, to see it trickle down through several other baseball games being canceled today. I believe there were 7 of them on tap for today. Several NHL playoff games being canceled. And as you were talking about the basketball games that were postponed. So incredibly interesting. And furthermore, aside from just the postponement today, there was real talk that they might cancel the rest of the playoffs over it in the NBA. And I think it just came out recently, just before we're recording here, that they've decided to move forward. So I'm very interested to hear your thoughts kind of on the entire situation now that we've kind of given a recap of what's been going down. I'm kind of interested to see your take on it. Yeah, so you and we was planning to do this episode yesterday, and like the protests, like they broke out, and I was like, yo, let's give it a day. Let's see how this plays out and just gather a little bit more information.
And like for me, like my own personal opinion on it, it gave a sense of pride. Honestly, it gave a sense of like, okay, I'm proud to be a fan of sports, and I'm proud to be a fan of these players and teams that decided to do this and send a message. I remember I had posted something on Twitter, and then somebody had asked me, okay, well, what's the point? Why are you, what are they going to accomplish with this? And, I responded like, okay, the point really is to voice their opinion, to use their platform to send a powerful message that what's going on in this country, around this country consistently is not okay. The consistent murders of Black men and Black women too, by the police, by the police force that's supposed to be protecting the people. And we consistently see it all the time. You see it on social media, you see it in the news. And these players, the predominant, like the NBA is 80%, 85% Black. And they see this on the news as well. And like, it just kind of sums up the pain that the Black community is feeling. And they express that with saying like, listen, this shit has been going on too long. We're tired of it happening. And we're not going to be entertaining you guys, the same people that are saying that, well, the cop is justified for doing it, or, the Black person, these people had it coming to, whatever it may be, whatever the rhetoric may be. We're not going to be entertaining you people if this shit keeps happening. And we're going to possibly even take it a step further than that. So for me, it definitely gave a sense of pride. It definitely gave a sense of like togetherness. Like I felt like it's not just the little people. It's not just the lower level people that voices aren't being heard. These NBA players who have a platform are getting the voices that can't be heard out there. And it was a beautiful statement to me, man. How about yourself? What was your reaction, and how do you feel about it?
Well, the first thought process after watching the video, it's mixed emotions for me across the board. Obviously, I think it's without question that there is a problem across the board with police violence in general in this country. I think that we have an incredibly heightened police state in this country versus other countries that are around the world. I think that the police have a lot of power over using deadly force, more so than they do in other countries, just in general. With that being said, to me, when I watch that video, I also recognize that the police have a very difficult and dangerous job where there are people that are in some instances, out to hurt them. And I think that this is a nuanced situation where it's very difficult to kind of break down on a situation by situation basis. Well, did this guy deserve it? And did this guy happen to be Black? While there is systemic racism without question through the entire system. So it's a difficult period of time, because I think what you said kind of put it best, is that they're using their platform to raise awareness of this problem. I think it's, as I reflect on this, because I do give this a lot of thought before I just start speaking about it, the thing that kind of touches me about all of this is I'm, being a white male, I feel like I'm coming from a position of privilege where I can even think about this as a nuance, right? Because there are people that are living this experience that don't have the privilege, or they don't have the ability to consider it just a nuanced issue. This is something they're facing every single day.
Right.
And what I was first thinking about this was, okay, what, like you were saying, I might have had very similar comments to your friend who said, well, what are they exactly trying to do here? What exactly is the point of the boycott? What will that accomplish? Okay, and I think about that as a person. You and I have both had discussions about this, off air, and we've both said that we're very in the know about this. We follow this, right? There are a lot of people that don't. There are a lot of people that don't follow social media. There are a lot of people that don't follow the news on these topics. So to see it in a way where it's in your face, because it's playoff basketball, you've got millions of households that would otherwise be watching this. Now suddenly it's off. hundreds of thousands of households watching the NHL playoffs, not, quite as popular as the NBA, but, quite a few people watching there too. Suddenly hockey's off.
Right.
People that otherwise wouldn't be tuned into this issue are now, kind of confronted with it. And it's kind of a way for them to see and to hear from perhaps some of their heroes, some of the people that they look up to, kind of putting that issue on display.
Right.
So I guess the question that I have for you left after all of this is, do you think it will ultimately lead to good? Like, so this country, the way it operates, the news cycle, it's this 24-hour news cycle. It's like tomorrow's another day and there's going to be some other crazy shit that's going on tomorrow, and this will kind of be off the radar for a minute. So what do you ultimately think, not should it have happened? Because I like that it happened, right? I like that this went down. I like that they put this on display.
Mm-hmm.
But moving forward now, 3 days from now, 5 days from now, a week from now, do you think this will have made any change or anything will have come from this?
So the real change is going to happen. It's going to take a long time to happen. All right. The real change is going to take a while to happen. So does this have any effect on the future? I think it does. I think it raises awareness to the situation, what's going on, because literally, like, we're in a pandemic where everybody's at home, and the comfort that we usually get is from like the real world is sports. We're all able to come, we're able to sit down, we're able to talk about sports, we'll watch sports and then talk about it. So when that just abruptly stops, like you said, this is playoff basketball, playoff hockey, like you're in the middle of the baseball season and play just literally stops for 2 days. Also the WNBA, they also sent a strong message as well, and they just stopped their play. So you just stop all sports to go and display this message of, we're tired of seeing our brothers and sisters getting murdered on the street on a consistent basis, and this needs to stop. I think that has to open up. It creates awareness, right? Even the people that were trying to ignore it are noticing that now. Okay. The people that maybe were seeing it and were agreeing with it, maybe empowers them to feel a little bit more empathetic or sympathetic, to be able to listen to what's going on, to be able to open up their minds, open up their hearts. And hopefully this leads to the change that needs to be made. This leads to the destruction of systemic racism. This leads to the putting in laws in place where hate crimes are actually punished. You know what I'm saying? Like police reform actually takes place, more training. We get political figures in office that are willing to make these changes and bring this country back together, bring this country together for everybody to feel safe, not just a select group of people. And hopefully, I'm hoping and that it can be leads to greater change and better outcomes.
That would be great, man. I mean, that's obviously what I think, at some level or another, everybody's really rooting for, is that we can get outside and to the other end of this little ugly tunnel we've been going down, I'd say for the last 6 months. And I think it's interesting that you brought up the fact that this is all going down during the COVID-19 pandemic, because I think that plays a large part in this. I think you have people that have been to a large degree locked inside. I think people are frustrated in general. And I have no doubt that that's leading to part of the way that people are responding to these different issues on both sides, right? And at first you could accuse some of these things as just grandstanding, right? Or taking an opportunity to put themselves on a pedestal and look at me. But throughout this entire period, what's different for me, this doesn't sound like, athletes being prima donnas or look at me, look at what we're doing. There's a lot of things like virtue signaling that you'll see online. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with that term, but that's essentially just like putting things out there that are like, look at me, I'm doing good things, right? Even though it has no real impact on anything, you're putting it out there that you're a great person, right? But some of the things that I've seen in the last few months leading up to this, right? There was one really touching moment that for me kind of puts this all in perspective. Like there was a guy, you might have heard of him, Drew Brees, a quarterback for the New Orleans Saints.
I think I've heard of him before.
You might have heard of him once or twice, right? Well, he came out, and although he was trying to say the right things, right, about the military and otherwise, saying that he had His family members had served, so he respects the flag a lot. The fact that somebody even like that, who